Okay, let's talk about clogged arteries. If you think the answer is just picking a diet, keto or vegan, and sticking to it for a few weeks, I've got some news for you. The popular understanding of how this all works, it's almost completely wrong. Today, we're going to give you the correct user manual for your body, one that actually targets the problem at its real source. Let's start by totally reframing the issue.
Right off the bat, let's get this straight. When you try a new diet and it doesn't stick, it feels like a personal failure, right? Like you just didn't have enough discipline. But here's the thing. Your arteries don't care about your willpower. They don't care about diet labels. This isn't a willpower problem. It's a mechanism problem. It means you've been trying to fix a complex machine with the wrong instructions.
So, here is the crucial shift in thinking. I want you to completely forget the idea of your arteries being clogged up like a kitchen sink pipe. That's not what's happening. The reality is far more specific and honestly a little scary. They are literally rusting. It's a chemical process of decay happening on the inside. But once you really understand that, the solution becomes incredibly clear.
So what does this rusting process actually look like inside your body? Well, it's a devastating four-step cascade that happens silently, often with absolutely no symptoms until it's way too late.
It all starts with hidden sugars, and I'm not just talking about donuts. I mean, things we think are healthy, like agave nectar or certain fruit juices. These sugars act like tiny, microscopic shards of glass, and they create these little scratches all along the delicate lining of your arteries. Think of them as potholes. Bad cholesterol, or LDL, comes along and slips into these potholes, and it gets stuck. Now, once it's trapped in the wall, it oxidizes. It literally rusts, turning toxic. Your body's immune system, of course, freaks out and sends in cleanup crews. But they just get overwhelmed. They eat the rested cholesterol, die, and then just pile up. And over years, that pileup hardens into the plaque that we all want to get rid of. So to reverse this damage, we need a solution that targets every single one of those steps. This isn't about just another diet. It's a complete biological reset. Let's get into the 5 steps, starting with how we can block the problem right at the source. First things first, we have to block new cholesterol from ever even getting into the system. And we do this with something called plant sterols. Foods that are rich in them, we're talking walnuts, lentils, pumpkin seeds, they act as these amazing biological decoys. You see, they look so much like cholesterol that they basically steal all the absorption spots in your gut. It's like a game of musical chairs, and the bad cholesterol gets left standing without a seat. It has nowhere to go, so it just gets flushed right out of your body. Simple as that. And look, this isn't just a nice theory. The results are proven. A huge clinical review found that consistently eating these foods can drop your LDL, your bad cholesterol, by as much as 12.5%. That's a really powerful intervention. And it's all done just by using this simple, clever decoy strategy. Okay, so we've blocked the new stuff from getting in. But what about the rust that's already there? Well, for that, we bring in the antioxidant heavyweights. I want you to think of the deep, rich pigments in things like blackberries and wild blueberries as a team of biological bounty hunters. They literally track down and neutralize the molecules that are causing all that rust. Raw garlic is also key here. It releases a compound that helps stabilize the most dangerous, unstable plaque. But get this, this is where it gets really wild. In one clinical trial, patients who drank pomegranate juice every day saw a 30% reduction in plaque thickness over a single year. Meanwhile, the control group, their plaque actually grew by 9%. I mean, think about what that means. This isn't just stopping the damage, this is actively reversing it. All right, step 3 is all about creating more space. It's so easy to think of our arteries as just rigid pipes, but they're not. They're actually flexible, muscular tubes, and we can tell those muscles to relax and widen the whole passage. How? By flooding the body with something called nitric oxide. This is triggered by foods like raw beets, spinach, and yes, even high-quality dark chocolate. This relaxes the artery walls, which improves blood flow and reduces all that damaging friction. So wider arteries are great, but what about the wall itself? Remember those microscopic scratches we talked about? They need to be repaired. And to do that, your body needs the right raw materials. Think of omega-3s from fatty fish and a compound in extra virgin olive oil called oleocanthal. They're like the perfect biological patch kit. They physically weave themselves into your cell walls, making the tissue flexible and resilient again. This isn't a temporary fix. We're talking fundamental repair. Okay, so we've blocked new damage, we've neutralized the rest, we've widened the vessels, and we've rebuilt the walls. You think we're done, right? Nope. Now comes the final, truly game-changing step. Actively pulling the hardened, calcified plaque right out of there. This is where vitamin K2 comes in, and honestly, it's the unsung hero of this whole story. I want you to think of K2 as a biological traffic cop for calcium. See, plaque gets hard and dangerous because calcium gets deposited in it. What K2 does is activate a protein that literally grabs this stray calcium, pulls it directly out of your arteries, and then sends it to your bones, where it actually belongs.
And if you need proof, just look at the science. The evidence for this is just staggering. The massive Rotterdam study followed thousands of people for years, and it found that the folks with the highest K2 intake from foods like certain cheeses, natto, and egg yolks, they had a 52% reduction in artery calcification and an incredible 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease. That is not a small number. That is life-changing. And finally, to supercharge K2's work, you don't need intense, grueling workouts. In fact, that can actually be counterproductive because it spikes your stress hormone, cortisol. Instead, you need the FIT formula, a simple 30-minute daily walk. This acts as a secondary pump for your entire circulatory system, creating a gentle, healthy friction that helps scrub the vessel walls clean. It's the perfect low-stress partner for that cleanup crew we just activated.
So let's just recap the whole strategy, right? You block the infiltration of bad cholesterol, you neutralize the rust that's already there, you widen the vessels, you rebuild the tissue, and then finally you activate the cleanup crew to pull out the hard stuff. Every single one of these steps is a precise signal you are sending to your body. And every time you choose one of these foods, every time you take that daily walk, just remember that you are using the correct user manual. You're sending those precise biological signals to dismantle a crisis from the inside out. As the slide says, you are literally walking away from it.
The key takeaway here is this. Your arteries are not just a victim of your age or your genetics. Not at all. They are simply responding, in real time, to the signals you send them every single day. We've just given you the biological framework. The tools you need are right there in your kitchen and on your sidewalk. Your biology is listening. So the only question left is, what are you going to tell it to do?